Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I used to live in Sacramento, so.
Oh,
so not
those
too
are
far.
my old stomping grounds.
Yeah. I'm just going to jump right into it.
Excellent.
Can you just tell us a little bit about like your writing journey and how you came about being a published children's author?
Sure. So I come from the business world, 20 years as VP sales, marketing, blah, blah, blah. And so I've written tons, more than my fair share of very dry white papers, grant proposals, business proposals, websites, and so on. And my husband and I sold our business, and he said, "What do you want to do?" And I said, "Well, I've always wanted to be an author." And he said, "Well, will you regret it when we're 80 if you don't try?" And I said, "I think I will."
Yeah.
And so that's how I got started. I'm a pretty big environmental activist. I work with a lot of kids and a lot of programs. And so I chose to marry the two.
Yeah, that's great. With your home life, 3 children, plenty of pets, notably 8 chickens, all named Champion. Where do you find time to like schedule in writing amongst all the other priorities that you have?
I write everywhere. I do a lot of hiking, so I write on the hiking trail. I keep notes on my phone, driving the kids around, picking the kids up, and then I try to just carve out. So, because writing, so much of it is the thought process,
Yep.
right? That we go through. It's the strategy, it's the getting to know your characters, it's the planning, the plotting, and all of that. And so, so when I'm working on a picture book, I will often carry a paper draft of that around with me everywhere I go in case I have an idea. I'll write it down. And if I'm working on a novel, I make notes to myself all day long.
I'm pretty much the same way.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
story is always up here and you just got to get it on paper somehow. So
yeah, exactly. And then I try to just carve out like 2 quiet hours a day to take all those notes in and make them sound good.
Yep. Put them in some type of sequence.
Exactly.
Yeah. What is Earth Hour and what inspired you to get involved with something like that as well as write a book about it?
So Earth Hour is a event that's coordinated by the World Wildlife Fund. And it happens on a Saturday in the equinox of March every year. It's different depending on certain religious holidays and when the equinox falls. This year it's March 27th. And wherever you are on the planet at 8:30 at night, you turn your lights off for an hour as really as a pledge. It's not about the energy that you're saving for that hour. It's a pledge of what you're going to do to support the planet and the environment for the rest of the year. And I first learned about it when I was driving home one night years ago, and I went over the Golden Gate Bridge and the lights all went out on the bridge. And I thought there had been a power outage. Turns out that it was Earth Hour. So major monuments all over the planet go dark at their respective time for Earth Hour, from the Eiffel Tower to the Golden Gate Bridge to the Statue of Liberty. They all go dark.
And now, is that just lights or is that like TV, computers, anything that illuminates?
Yeah, it's kind of anything. Like it is a lights out event because it's a reflection event more than, it's not about calculating how much energy we're trying to save. So the way I equate it is it's kind of like Valentine's Day. We love each other all year long, but on Valentine's Day, we go out of our way to let those people know. So on Earth Hour, we are conserving and doing our part all year long. But on Earth Hour, we're kind of reaffirming our pledge and making our commitments about what we're going to do for the environment for the rest of the year. And then everybody has different, sometimes there are events. This year, there won't obviously be as many. But I've always chosen to celebrate at home with my kids. So we turn out the lights, we light a candle, we play board games, we talk about when they were really little. We talk, we just kind of talk.
Yeah. Wow. I do know that you have a unique costume that you wear made from lunch trash, that you do this when you visit schools. And I was wondering, how did you come up with that idea?
So when my children were little in elementary school, I used to help in the parking lot with the traffic because it's, volunteer mom thing. And I used to wear crazy hats because the parents would get a little nuts sometimes. It's, you know, it's an aggressive time in the morning. You're trying to drop the kid off. You've already had 3 cups of coffee. You're trying to get to
Yeah.
the office and whatnot. And I would try to just have everybody just like, you know, chill out a little. And so I would wear these hats. I was also on the green team, and I was helping in the lunchroom one day, and I noticed how much plastic there was in the trash. So I went and I did a trash audit, and what I discovered in the big dumpsters.
Yeah.
And what I discovered was, and found out subsequently, was able to verify through research, is that about 80% or more of all trash from a elementary school comes from lunch. When you think about, we're not throwing out a lot of other, you know, we're not throwing out electronics on a regular, right? At home, we have a lot of food packaging and things like that. But the vast majority, the vast majority of trash at a school comes from lunch. And so I thought, what if we could reduce that? What if we did waste-free lunch? Imagine what an impact that would have. So I went to the principal and I told him my idea. And I said, I want to make a hat for the parking lot out of the plastic baggies, not like the yogurt containers and stuff, right? And he said, all right, I'd like to see that. Well, within one day, the hat was full and I needed a much larger costume. So it was an awareness campaign for waste-free lunch. And we were able to reduce within 1 month the amount of lunch trash that came onto campus by 50%.
Wow.
So it was super significant. It also had great financial impact because we were able to reduce our trash pickups and save the school district money and on and on. So it ended up becoming a really awesome thing. And you know what? It really makes a statement, and it really makes you pause and think. When I wear it to festivals and schools or whatever, it's just, some people come up and just really engage with me. A lot of people just stand back and shake their head and they're like, wow, that, you know, because it's obnoxious and it's big and it's in front of you, but it really makes you pause and think in a way. And it's relatable to kids. I can talk to them while I'm wearing it and they are so engaged.
That was my next thing was, you know, how did the children respond to the costume as well as the presentation that you deliver?
So the kids, the older kids, and by older, I mean usually by about 3rd grade and up, are full of questions. Where did you get that? Did you eat all of that? What, you know, and I, you know, so we have this whole conversation about where I got it and was it gross? And I'm like, kind of. I had to like clean all the bags and, you know, dry them out and make this suit. And so they're full of questions. The little ones are usually afraid. Like really, like if you're 3 years old or 4 years old, like if I'm at a festival, I wear it a lot of times like to Halloween festivals because it's the perfect double meaning, right? It's my costume, yet it's an opportunity for me to talk to kids and parents. So the little ones are usually afraid. And so I stand back and let them just take it in.
Yeah.
But the older ones have tons of questions. And then everybody wants to tell you about how they bring a thermos and that's great. That's all we're trying to do, right? Let's just start the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to Earth Hour in your book, what kind of impact have you seen with that?
It's actually, I think, had a really nice impact in the United States because so Earth Hour is sponsored by the World Wildlife Fund, but the Earth Hour organization itself is headquartered in Singapore, and they have done an amazing job spreading awareness of the event online through social media. But adults are on social media, not young children.
Yeah.
And so it's been a really nice tie-in, I think, a really nice support to the cause to create awareness in the United States with children. The other and subsequently their families. But the other thing that I think is so powerful about Earth Hour is that when we're little, there's so much that we can't do or we have to do. You have to, you know, eat what's served to you for dinner. You have to go to school. You have to take a bath. You have to clean your room. You can't go to your friend's house this Saturday and Earth Hour, they can participate with no permission. They can make a pledge to turn off the bathroom light every time they use the bathroom for the rest of the year, and they can participate and they don't need permission to do that. It's very empowering for a child.
It's like they get to make their own decision and their own commitment.
Yeah, and they get to be
Yeah.
in charge of their contribution and feel and know they're making a difference. Because if 1 million kids all over the United States does this, that's a huge impact.
Yeah.
Whether you don't leave the water running, or you turn off the light, or you close the door when you come in from playing outside, whatever your commitment is.
Wow. I know from reading your bio that you love the outdoors. It's funny because my wife and I are the same way. We hike any chance we get.
Yeah.
But how can we foster a love of nature in our children, get them interested, in the outdoors? Now they're all stuck, in front of a screen.
I think that that's actually a really good question, especially now because my kids are in high school. So it's even a much more dramatic shift to the screens because they're already gravitating to the screens, right? As teenagers and whatnot. I think it's really about making the effort, making the time. I mean, I think about it as an adult, right? And we're many of us in relationships, and we know what that means. It doesn't just happen, right? We've got to put in the time. We've got to make the effort. And it's the same thing with our children. We've got to shut the screens off and go outside, read, bring a book, bring a board game. It doesn't matter, but make the effort, schedule it. Because some kids are naturally drawn to that, and other kids are, kind of become a product of their environment.
Can you tell us about some of the awards you've gotten for your environmental work?
Yes, so most of them had to do with around the schools. So efforts of green team in the schools, promoting conservation and whatnot in the schools. So being a leader within that community and within the schools and the school districts in the area, and working also with all the way up through middle schools, and helping with a whole variety of programs, whether that's reducing the lost and found. All of that stuff is donated, but it's so much of it just gets tossed. Reducing, promoting waste-free lunch, helping the kids during science do audits on campus about, do we have these 30-year-old mature trees that are still getting watered every day because they're just on some cycle that somebody forgot? Can we turn half the lights off in our classroom? Let's do a classroom audit of the lighting in our room and figure out when natural light is best. And can we turn off half the lights if we can't turn off all of them for a couple of hours? We can still see. Can we do that? And what does that mean? And what is the impact that would have if every fifth grade classroom in the entire country did that? So lots of programs like that.
Wow. And how could someone get involved in Earth Hour? Obviously, I would think the parents have to introduce it to their children for the most part.
Yeah, so the idea behind the book was to create awareness among kids and empower young children, to let them know that they can participate and they can encourage their families to participate. Earth Hour itself as an event is a great time for the family to come together. Like I said, some families sit around and snuggle and talk, and others, we play board games. There's all sorts of different ways. Some people go on night walks. It just kind of depends on, what your cup of tea is. But extending it beyond that, we can have Earth Hour every day. So when I do school visits, we talk a lot about that. We don't have to just wait for the one day a year. Like we talked about a little bit in the classroom, we can turn those lights off every day. We can turn half the lights off in our classroom every day. We can make a commitment and follow through with that commitment every day for a whole year.
Wow.
Does that answer the question?
Yes, okay. Absolutely. That's pretty much all that that Kathleen had kind of put together, but is there anything that we didn't ask that you definitely would like to add?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think she did a pretty thorough job.
That's good.
In the questions.
So, but I mean, if not, I know she's going to put it together, and we'll, what we'll even do is I'll try to get it to you to review before I put it into the newsletter to send out. It goes out on the 1st. So.
Okay, and I owe the organization, some photos. So that's on my
Okay.
list, first thing
Yep.
for Monday. So I'll make sure I send in the trash suit, because that's always a crowd pleaser.
Yep.
Yeah, the picture of the trash suit, and I've got some internal spreads and a cover photo, of course, and things like
Yeah.
that. So,
And if you think of anything else, just shoot her an email, and she'll take care of whatever needs to be taken care of. So
okay.
it sounds good. So
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time.
thank you.
I appreciate it, and
Yep.
I'll be hearing from you.
Yep. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
All right. You too. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye.